Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the introduction, Kasia, and thanks to the entire TechBlick team for getting everybody here. It is incredible to be at a trade show in person again. So before jumping into the presentation, a lot of the presentations today are much more technical in nature. Ours is a little bit more opinion on the entire industry. But before that, I'll give you a little bit more context about myself and about why I was asked to be one of the opening presentations for today. So, as mentioned, I'm the CEO and one of the founders of Voltera. And over the last decade, we've been working on bringing additive electronics to the masses. The Voltera V1 is a PCB printer that deposits silver conductive ink onto FR4 so that our users can iterate on their traditional electronics designs. This machine is being used by educators, researchers, and product developers in 70 countries, and it is the most widely sold conductive ink printer in the world. Last week, we publicly announced a new machine, Nova, and this event will be its first public appearance. It is an FHE printer, and the organizers of this show think that many people here would benefit from learning about it. But don't worry, I'm not going to try to sell you for the next 20 minutes. There will be one slide at the end. That's it. The last thing you need to know is that I've been attending FHE and PE shows for the better part of the last 10 years. And every time I come to one of these, it's the same old faces. There's a lot of hype, but not a lot of maturation. Don't get me wrong, there's always advancements in materials and processes, but what I care about is what are people doing with the technology? What are the applications? How is this getting out into the world? So that's part of why I'm here today. I want to see what's changed over COVID, hopefully a lot, and I'd like to share my opinion on what our industry needs to do in order to mature. So people seem to treat additive electronics as completely separate from traditional electronics. One is the domain of material scientists, the other, the domain of electronics engineers. That's not how I see it. I believe that electronics with printed conductive ink and electronics with etched copper will both be used by anyone creating electronic devices. They will both be tools in the same toolbox. Now, not only will the exposure to millions of more electronics creators make the additive electronics bubble grow, but this will also result in an explosion in innovation in the form factors of the devices that surround us. As I describe what it's going to take to make this happen, I'd appreciate if you all nodded vigorously with everything that you agreed with. That would really help my confidence. And if you disagree, I want you to find me during the show and berate me for getting everything wrong. All right? Deal? I see one nod over there. You're getting a lot of excitement out of making me look like a fool, so thank you. OK. Before we get started, I'd like to go through some terminology because, oh my gosh, does our industry suck at using the same language. So whenever I am referring to additive electronics, I'm using it as an umbrella term to cover printed electronics and flexible hybrid electronics. PE tends to describe circuits that have little to no components and are instead fully printed. This is usually done via inkjet to achieve high resolution, but sacrifices conductivity as a result. Diabetes test strips are one of the most ubiquitous examples, but other common examples, things that we would all interact with on a daily basis and know about it, well, those are harder to come by. That's part of why I'll be focusing more on FHE today. The promise of FHE is the ability to create traditional electronics, but in new form factors, such as in-mold electronics and devices that move, stretch, and bend with the user.